The bullet that killed Charlie Kirk doesn't match the rifle prosecutors swore was the murder weapon, and a doctor just proved it. From the very beginning, this case was supposed to be simple. A rifle on the rooftop, a single shot, a suspect in custody within 48 hours. Prosecutors told the public the story was closed before the body was even buried. But tonight, that entire story falls apart. Forensic ballistics are the backbone of any gun-related murder case. If a bullet comes out of a victim's body, investigators can usually tell within hours which gun fired it. And yet, in the most high-profile political assassination of the decade, there is still no official report confirming that match. Even worse, a forensic pathologist has just gone on record stating that the bullet removed from Charlie Kirk's neck could not have been fired from the Mauser rifle found at the scene. That revelation doesn't just poke a hole in the prosecution's case, it tears the whole thing wide open. What if the wrong man is sitting in jail? What if the real killer is still out there? And what if someone wants this case closed, no matter what the truth is? Stay with me, because by the end of this investigation, you'll see why this bullet may be the most dangerous piece of evidence in America right now. It was September 10th, 2025. Utah Valley University was buzzing with energy that afternoon. Students packed the auditorium, spilling into aisles and leaning against walls. Charlie Kirk was in the middle of a fiery Q&A session, fielding questions on politics, economics, the future of the country. Cameras were rolling. Social media feeds were live streaming. Then, in a split second, everything changed. A single sharp crack echoed through the hall, louder than any microphone feedback, louder than the crowd. At first, many thought it was a prop, a prank, or a dropped microphone. But when Kirk stumbled forward, clutching his neck, the horror became real. Screams erupted. Students dove for cover. Security rushed the stage. Someone shouted for everyone to get down. Within minutes, first responders flooded the campus. Kirk was rushed to a nearby trauma center, but it was too late. The wound was catastrophic. The official time of death, 4:37 p.m. While the nation reeled, police launched one of the most aggressive manhunts Utah had ever seen. A Mauser 30.06 bolt-action rifle was discovered on the roof of a parking structure near the auditorium, wrapped in a towel. A single shell casing was found beside it, along with a flathead screwdriver. DNA pulled from the towel and screwdriver came back to a single name, Strung Tyler Robinson. Robinson, a 24-year-old former student with a minor criminal record, was arrested within 48 hours. Prosecutors painted him as a politically motivated assassin. They announced charges for aggravated murder and domestic terrorism and vowed to seek the death penalty. News networks ran with the story. The nation mourned, then raged. For most people, the case was over before it even started. But here's the problem. Every single piece of evidence you just heard about is now under a microscope. And some of it doesn't look the way prosecutors first claimed. On paper, the case against Tyler Robinson looks airtight. Let's break it down piece by piece. First, the bullet. The fatal round was recovered during autopsy, clean and intact. That means investigators had everything they needed to run a full ballistic comparison. The kind of test that can match a bullet to a gun with near 100% certainty. Second, the rifle. A Mauser 30.06 bolt-action rifle, discovered on the rooftop, positioned in line with the auditorium. Investigators said the distance and angle matched the trajectory of the shot that struck Charlie Kirk. Third, the DNA. Traces of Tyler Robinson's DNA were reportedly found on two key pieces of evidence: the towel the rifle was wrapped in, and a screwdriver found near the weapon. Fourth, the shell casing. A single casing was discovered on the rooftop, consistent with a recently fired shot. Fifth, the confession. Authorities claimed Robinson admitted to the shooting during interrogation, though that alleged confession has never been released to the public. No video, no audio, no transcript. Put together, this was the narrative prosecutors presented. A rifle was used. Robinson touched the items connected to the rifle. He was near the scene. He allegedly confessed. Case closed. And for weeks, that was the story. Robinson was moved into a high-security holding facility. News networks stopped digging. Social media moved on. But a case built this neatly can still collapse if just one piece doesn't fit. And that's where this story takes a very different turn. Because when you examine the bullet, the rifle, the DNA, and the so-called confession, things start to fall apart. Here's where everything begins to unravel. We have a bullet, we have a rifle, but we still don't have a confirmed match. Despite weeks passing since the shooting, no public report has been released confirming that the bullet pulled from Charlie Kirk's neck matches the rifle found on the rooftop. No striation analysis, no microscopic photographs, no official confirmation that ties this bullet to that gun. For a case this high profile, that's not just unusual, it's alarming. Because ballistics is simple. Bullets carry the fingerprint of the barrel that fired them. If there's no match, there's no murder weapon. And yet, silence. Authorities claim Tyler Robinson admitted to the shooting. But there is no recording, no written transcript. Not even an investigator's handwritten notes have been made public. We are told to trust that a confession happened, but we are not allowed to hear it. And in a case this consequential, trust is not enough. Robinson's DNA was reportedly found on the towel and the screwdriver. But here's the catch. No publicly available report confirms his DNA was on the rifle stock, the trigger, or even the shell casing. Think about that. The two objects that matter most, the gun and the bullet, are the two objects with no confirmed link to Robinson. Investigators said Robinson wrote a note describing his intent. That note, we're told, was destroyed. No chain of custody, no photographs, no confirmation of its handwriting analysis. Just gone. How can a piece of evidence this central to establishing motive simply disappear? Security cameras were covering the rooftop and surrounding areas. But we've only been given selective still frames, not the full footage. We have no confirmed visual timeline of Robinson carrying the weapon, setting up the rifle, or fleeing the scene. If the evidence is as strong as authorities claim, why withhold the full video? And here's the chilling part. Each one of these gaps might be survivable on its own, but stack them together, and you no longer have a case, you have a story. A story with missing pages. And the more we pull at the loose threads, the more this entire case starts to look like a performance, not a proof. If you've been following me this far, you can feel it too. Something about this case doesn't sit right. And that's why I need you here. Not just watching, but helping keep this story alive. Because here's the truth. Cases like this don't die because of a lack of evidence. They die because we stop asking questions. So, right now, pause for just a second. Drop a comment below. Which part of this case troubles you most? The missing ballistic match? The destroyed note? The silent confession? Or something else that you've already spotted? I read every single comment, and sometimes your insights take us to new evidence that no one else has connected. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Not because this is entertainment, but because it's accountability. If we don't keep pushing for answers, this case gets buried. And I promise you, we're not letting that happen. We're told the rifle was recovered from the rooftop, wrapped in a towel. But no public record shows when exactly that rifle was logged into evidence. Who handled it first? Who transported it? Was it swabbed for DNA at the scene or back at the lab? Every transfer, every fingerprint, every test should be documented. But without those logs, we have to ask, could this rifle have been contaminated? Weeks have passed, and still no published ballistic report. That's not just a technical delay. That's an unanswered question that grows louder by the day. Because a ballistic match is the single most conclusive way to link a shooter to a gun. If the match was clean, why not release it? And if the match was not clean, what does that mean for everything else we've been? Security cameras covered the building, the rooftop, the entrances. But we've seen only fragments, a blurry frame here, a grainy still there. No full timeline, no continuous footage showing Robinson carrying that rifle or firing that shot. If prosecutors have it, why not show it? And if they don't have it, then how do they place Robinson on that rooftop at all? Authorities say Robinson was politically disaffected, but they've released no prior writings, no manifestos, no social media posts suggesting an obsession with Charlie Kirk. Without that context, the claim that this was politically motivated feels more like a convenient narrative than a proven motive. Interrogations of high-profile suspects are almost always recorded. Video, audio, something. But here, we have nothing. Just the word of investigators that Robinson admitted guilt before clamming up. And let's be clear, a confession we're not allowed to hear is not evidence, it's a claim. A note, allegedly detailing motive, was reportedly destroyed. How? By accident? On purpose? And who signed off on that destruction? Without chain of custody documentation, the note might as well be fiction, because there is no way to verify it ever existed. Piece by piece, the official story begins to look more like a performance. Bree, one designed to be clean, quick, and convincing, but not necessarily complete. P, and that's the danger. Because when a narrative becomes too neat, too perfect, it often means we're not being shown the whole picture. P. Before we go any further, let's stop and remember why this matters. Charlie Kirk wasn't just a headline. He was a husband, a father, a son, a colleague, a friend. Someone who left home that morning expecting to come back. Someone who stood on that stage speaking to a crowd. Bree, and never walked off it. P. His wife, Erica, now grieves behind closed doors away from the storm of headlines. His colleagues carry on his work while facing death threats and harassment. And his supporters, and even some of his critics, are left with more questions than answers. P. This case isn't about clicks or conspiracy. It's about the truth. Because until we know exactly what happened, until we know exactly who pulled that trigger, Bree, Charlie Kirk's story is incomplete. P. Justice isn't just about punishing someone. It's about precision, getting the facts right, making sure we are holding the right person accountable. And if there is even a chance that the case against Tyler Robinson is flawed, then finding the truth isn't just an option, it's a responsibility. For Charlie Kirk's memory, for his family's peace, for the integrity of justice itself. So let's lay this case out one last time. We have a bullet. We have a rifle. We have DNA on a towel and a screwdriver. We have a supposed confession. But we do not have a confirmed ballistic match. We do not have the full confession on record. We do not have the note. And we do not have uncut surveillance footage placing Tyler Robinson on that rooftop. So here's the question we must all sit with tonight. If the bullet doesn't match the gun, what else doesn't match the story? If the note is gone, whose hand erased it? If the confession is silent, who benefits from us never hearing it? And if we are left with nothing but press conferences and headlines, are we looking at a solved case or just a carefully crafted narrative? This case is not closed, not here, not with us watching. So I'm leaving you with a challenge. Comment below with the single biggest question you think prosecutors must answer before this case goes to trial. And share this video with someone who still believes truth matters. Because silence is the easiest when no one is watching. And right now, we are watching. Subscribe, hit the bell, and stay with us. Because this is not just a story, it's an investigation. And we are not done yet.